recently you made a post that went viral called Making of the White Man by Paul Guthrie. Now, did you have any influence in writing that book?
Absolutely not. I did not.
So why is it causing such a controversy to you and not towards the author?
Well, because first of all, it's because I'm an indigenous person. If I had been a Caucasian and I had posted that book, it wouldn't have caused such an uproar.
Now, what do you think the intentions were behind him publishing that book?
We're talking about the author, right? Paul Guthrie.
Right.
His intentions could only have been to elaborate on the teachings of Elijah Muhammad and to bring to the light that which the majority have no knowledge of, which is the history of Caucasians, especially towards the melanated family. Most of us never knew anything about their hidden history. And I say hidden because we were never taught it in school.
Why are you getting so much hate from the comments from your followers that take the time out of their day away from their family to bring hate towards you?
Well, actually, most of the ones that's been spewing out all the hate and racist rhetoric, they're not even my followers. They're claiming that the book or the post popped up in their feed from what I was reading because I was going through the comments. And truth is, it's because the book was influenced by Elijah Muhammad. I had one Caucasian guy say, I genuinely was interested in this book until I seen Elijah Muhammad's name on it. So I went to ask them, what did Elijah Muhammad do that make y'all hate him so much? And so I'm scrolling and I'm asking all these different people this. All of them was deflecting, literally deflecting from the question. So I had one guy say, and he made a post. He screenshot the post. He made a post, and it said, it said something to these lines. Elijah Muhammad says that the Caucasian race is a devil race. But it elaborates and says, due to their historical accounts toward indigenous people, or so-called black people. Then it goes on to say, he charges them with lynching, he charges them with rape, pillage. So I asked the guy, I said, well, shit, does this sound like the actions of an angel or actions of a devil? And in response, I never got a response. I got deflection. He went to talking about something totally different. So they were saying Elijah Muhammad was racist. But meanwhile, Elijah Muhammad was literally just a freedom fighter for his own people that had been oppressed.
Would you consider yourself a freedom fighter?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a freedom fighter, but I will say that I stand up for what is righteous, regardless of race, creed, class, or color. I don't give a shit.
Do you feel like the book should have been published?
Yes, I think the book is very educational, extremely educational. And the reason why I say educational is because most indigenous people, when I say indigenous, I'm talking about brown skin, copper colored people, the original people.
Was it a white person or was it a black person who published the book?
It was a Caucasian that published the book. But let me finish my point. I feel like the book is very important because most black people are always wondering, where did Caucasians come from? How did they get here? Because their history only goes back 6,000 years. Whereas ours goes back millions, billions of years. So we always wonder, how did they get here? But guess what? The book goes into it, where they come from. It goes into their hidden origin. How they got here, how they was made.
With you being an extremely educated man, how can y'all find some common ground in this, I guess, dispute with the followers? What can y'all agree on?
Well, one thing we can agree on is that in the school system, middle school, intermediate school, middle school, high school, college, It's always being promoted that black people were slaves. Harriet Tubman freed the slaves. Black people picked cotton. We were mistreated. Jim Crow, red line. Caucasians had no problem with none of that. But the minute I post one book concerning their history of how they lived and how they went through a hardship, it's an issue. But all of the millions of so-called black people that go to school and see our mistreatment, how we was treated, there's no issue with them. They don't have an issue whatsoever in the Constitution where we're labeled as 3/5 of a human. They ain't got no problem with that. Now imagine if we label them 3/5 of a human in the Constitution. Like, would they be so laid back and relaxed as we are?
Absolutely.
So
not.
in other words, they can dish it, but they can't take it. So I had one, check this out, right? I had one Caucasian say, he said, what if we wrote a book called Making of the Black Man? I told him, I got a book about the making of the black man. Did I have an issue with it? No, I did not. As a matter of fact, they do have a book about the making of the black man. The Caucasians do, and it's Charles Darwin, where he talks about evolution, how we evolved from monkeys. Did I get an attitude with that? No, I didn't. I said, let me look into this. So I started researching, right? I said, this man might have been genuine about his approach. So I started researching it, right? And lo and behold, guess what I found out? The only real human on earth is the African or so-called black man and woman. Every other race has Neanderthal traces. Not only that, Caucasians and Asians and Dravidians, all of them have fur. They get lice in their hair. They don't even have real hair. So if anybody has a trait, this is science. Because you can research this, the RH factor, the RH gene, the rhesus monkey gene. About 85 to 90% Caucasians are RH positive.
Can you 100% back up every claim that you made with facts?
Absolutely, I can. Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt, you can research this yourself. Google the RH factor secret. The Europeans' RH factor secret. And you will see that most of them carry the A and B antigen. And this is why most of them have to take the Rogam shot, is because whenever a Caucasian woman is pregnant, okay, the immune system will try to kill a baby because it sees it as a foreign entity or a subspecies, right? Because it sees it as a rhesus monkey. This is the RH factor. So the immune system will try to kill it. So what they have to do, the doctor give them a Rogam shot, and what the Rogam shot does is it literally tells the immune system, basically is what it does, it suppresses the immune system. And it basically tells the immune system, it's okay, have the baby. Other than that, the immune system on natural cause will kill a baby and it'll be a miscarriage because of the RH factor.
All right, real quick. Can you define the word human?
Human.
Can you break it down?
Okay, human. A human is somebody that is made from an organic substance, a melanin component. Hue, meaning melanated. A man is the species from which it comes from. So human would be a melanated man or woman.
So are you willing to entertain someone who has irresistible evidence to prove you wrong? Are you willing to go live and have a respectful conversation with them?
Most definitely. I only debate my equals, though. They got to come right. First of all, let me say this. This must be said. Everybody that was in the comments, when I asked them, have they read the book? They said no. So this right here, this within itself let me know that they were strictly basing it off of hatred and racism because of something that they didn't want to be exposed. They looked at the cover of the book and it said Making of the White Man, and it was influenced by Elijah Muhammad the Great, Elijah the Great, the one that they hate the most, and they knew automatically that, okay, this is the one that revealed the true identity of our attributes, of what we displayed throughout history, okay? So automatically, it was a trigger for them. But Nobody in the comments even talk.
Give me a brief summary of the book Making of the White Man by Paul Guthrie.
Okay, being that the majority, about 99% of them didn't even read the book, I'm going to give you a brief summary, right? So, the book goes into the history of the cave dweller while in the Caucasus Mountain. It also goes into how they were made, why they were made. It goes into in detail. Like, for instance, right, I remember reading one part that said the caveman would sleep in the trees while the family slept in the cave. And at night, he would try to fight off the wild animals so that the wild animals couldn't get in and attack his family. And the book makes mention that this is where the criminal mindset began, in the caves. There were no laws, no morality, none of that stuff, right? So if let's say if a husband died or a wife died in the cave, the spouse would sit on them like they're a couch. That's how uncivilized they was. They didn't know how to bury their dead. The book goes into all that.
Now, I got a question now, and answer this truthfully as you can.
Okay.
What role did white people play in freeing black slaves? Or do you acknowledge that they did?
Nah, I don't. I believe it was forced. And I don't really believe it was forced. I know it was forced based off history. This is what they call the Geechee Gullah Wars, or the Seminole Revolt. Because of all these black Indians, so-called black, but these, I'm going to say black because this term we use today in modern terms. These black Indians and Africans got together and started a revolt. And it was known as the Geechee Gullah Wars. Okay, it was also known as the Seminole Revolt. They went around freeing slaves, killing slave owners, killing the babies, killing the wives, killing the retarded, killing the men, killing the elderly, and it forced Abraham Lincoln to sign the Emancipation Proclamation. So basically, they was forced to sign it.